your job suck just a little bit less.
Cushy.
Zolak and Bertrand, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Finish strong Friday here on Zolak and Bertrand, presented by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, the company that finishes every job strong. You're listening to the number one sports station in Boston, so why settle for anything less than the number one home services company in Boston? Book your air conditioning tune-up today at call128.com. Thank you for the nod, 128.
Appreciate that.
They control the copy, not us. We let them control that, and so that's a compliment being offered up by Ryan and the entire team at 128. Right back at you, 128.
The best.
Go to call128.com. Let's get into this. Craig Carton talking about when does it hit a limit for the Patriots to deal with the fallout of Mike Vrabel's off-the-field matters and his relationship with Diana Russini. There was this column in USA Today, of all places, which I don't even know if they print anymore. I don't know if they leave. I haven't seen it left at a hotel door in a very long time. But USA Today was great if you're just like in an airport or at a hotel. It was like a perfect fit, right? Just AP wire stuff.
Yeah.
But there's this from Nancy Armour at USA Today, who writes a column about Mike Vrabel. And the lead is, Mike Vrabel chose wisely. No. I'm not referring to what you think I am. Not directly, at least. She writes, in the weeks after the 2024 NFL season, Mike Vrabel had options. He interviewed with the New York Jets and the Chicago Bears and would have been at the top of several other teams' wish lists if he and the New England Patriots hadn't quickly come to a deal. The Patriots, however, were a perfect fit. Not only, as it turns out, because Vrabel won 3 Super Bowl titles when he played for New England, and that the Patriots have a promising young quarterback. See, the Patriots and owner Robert Kraft are immune to embarrassment. They've weathered enough scandals and cringeworthy episodes already that the drip of photos and videos linking Vrabel to an extramarital relationship with Diana Russini barely raise an eyebrow. And so the point of the column is the Patriots have been through so many scandals, and they've been in the headlines so many times for other things, football related and not, that he was a perfect fit for the Pats for what is playing out right now, because the Pats are better equipped to handle this and just suffer being in the headlines than any other team in the league, because the Patriots have been here so many times before. And so I've got a number of questions today. I've got a game of what if for Mike Vrabel. And question number one is related to this, what Carton said and what this column says in USA Today, and that is, what if Mike Vrabel was currently employed by another NFL team? What if it was the Jets that got their way and hired Mike Vrabel? What if it was any other team that went ahead and hired Mike Vrabel? Is he still sitting as comfortably in his job as he is right now here? Is the situation different for him because he's a Patriot and he has such a long connection to the franchise and a winning connection to the franchise?
I'm glad you're asking this, because that was my first thought when I read that. And if you have a franchise that was coming off back-to-back 4-win seasons that looked rudderless, and a head coach came in and took them to the Super Bowl in year one, I don't care what franchise it is in the NFL right now, they are still employed by that team. There is not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that he is still the head coach of every single NFL team.
And so it's not a Patriots thing that's saving him right now.
It's not a Patriots thing that's saving him right now. It's the fact that he led that team to the Super Bowl last year.
Which leads me to question number two, and that is, what if Mike Vrabel didn't lead the team to the Super Bowl last year? What if Mike Vrabel had, with this team, or if taking over the New York Jets was what you just described, a 4-13 coach last year for any team, including this one?
I think any franchise in the NFL, without a shadow of a doubt, would get rid of him as their head coach if he was coming off of a 4-win season. He would not be the head coach of any franchise across the league.
So what we are doing here is diagnosing why it is he still has his job, and it's because he's good.
Yes. Simple as that.
He's good at his job. Therefore, this will not impact his employment status. If he sucked at his job, if he was a 4-win coach. He's gone. If he's Aaron Glenn, if Aaron Glenn has this happen right now, does Aaron Glenn survive?
Nope, not a chance.
He's gone. He's fired. So Mike Vrabel should be incredibly thankful that he is as good as he is at his job, because it's the thing that is saving him right now. If he were a bad coach, the conversation would be about him getting fired. If he were the coach of another team and he had led them to the Super Bowl, the conversation would not be about him getting fired, which is why I think this point about the Patriots is like half right. I don't think he'd be getting fired somewhere else. I do think it's a little easier here in New England because they've just been through it. They've been through a bunch of different public scandals,
no doubt,
over the years.
And it's easy to take that shot at the Patriots, right? Because of those scandals in the past. So it's easy to kind of point at them and like, look at this, next in line. Now you're not going to fire this coach after all this embarrassment that's going on. But
someone could sit there and say, our coach, he's in the affair with Rossini, but he didn't kill anybody, and we've been through that before. Literally, we had a guy who was murdering people. We've survived that. We can get through this. That's in there. She references that in the column.
Yeah.
Like, they once had a guy on their team who was murdering people. Yeah, no, that did happen. Truth. Yes. No lies detected there, Nancy. All true. But I think I think you're right. We agree. He's in the job still because he's so good at it. He's a good head coach. And so that's why I think that question about him in the fallout of this is he still as good of a head coach now? Does this damage his ability to be a coach? Does it damage his standing at all in being a coach and being a guy who is not only a player's coach and someone who does create, great culture around the team, but he did that by preaching family.
Yep.
And he also did that by also being a fair disciplinarian, I think. He's not a guy who just lets players do whatever they want. He holds guys accountable. Does it become more difficult to hold players accountable, whether it's football or off the field or anything? Anything like that. Do players start to roll their eyes at Mike Vrabel when he's telling them how to do things the right way?
Yeah. And look, we had Andrews in the week that you guys were out.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about how, that Super Bowl year and the way that he kind of cleaned out that locker room as a whole. Vrabel was sort of the leader in that locker room, which not many head coaches can be and pull off successfully. He obviously did it. But at some point, it's going to have to transition to leaders inside that locker room. And that Mike Vrabel's not going to be able to be that guy for the next 5 years, even with or without this scandal. Now, is this going to be earlier than he was hoping or anticipating it being? Maybe, but at some point, that transition in terms of who's actually leading this group has to go to players on that roster. And I think that's going to be a big part of this year as well. Or do you have people in that locker room moving forward now that can kind of take the mantle from what Vrabel did last year and be the tone setters for the New England Patriots and be your Willie McGinnis, who go down the list of guys that have been in that locker room and kind of police that thing? Because I don't know if he's going to have the same sort of pull that he did prior to this. You're absolutely right. And same thing that we talked about as well. The leash for him and the need to win at a high level this year has just been ramped up significantly too. Like you have to follow up last year's Super Bowl run with a successful season. That is absolutely important for him when it comes to this job.
Mike Vrabel continues to be in the headlines, and it doesn't stop. There's a drip, drip, drip. It's like a leaky faucet now with things related to Vrabel and Rossini. Last night, it was a video from an old Barstool video during COVID times that really, once again, reflects poorly on Diana Rossini. What you thought was maybe just a harmless joke at the time, now in context, looks absolutely terrible from Diana Rossini. We can get to that in just a bit, but I have more questions, more what-ifs, and one reason that I think we should be incredibly thankful that all of this came to light when it did. We could talk about that coming up in your calls on a Finish Strong Friday. 617-779-0985. Don't go anywhere.
We're back with more Zolak and Bertrand on the Sports Hub.
I guess the question I'm going to pose to you, Phil, is what will make the drip stop, short of Mike Vrabel laying his soul bare, copping to a litany of meetings and excursions since 2020, and or Diana Rossini speaking. I mean, that to me seems the end goal of this coverage? What is the end goal of the coverage, I guess is my question.
I think for the people covering it, it's probably to continue to cover it until the people lose interest. The audience loses interest. So when does that happen? Honestly, I don't know.
When do people lose interest in this? I mean,
because I'm with you. I'm with you. Are we going to start getting, hey, I got a video of Vrabel and Rossini, going into the movie theaters in, wherever, Tampa, going to see Interstellar. How about that? All right. Like that was sort of my reaction to this boat story too. I know for some, we talked about it on Boston Sports Tonight with Holly and Felger. For them, it was just sort of another log on the fire of, this was an actual long-term relationship with two people who seem to really care about each other.
Patriots Talk Podcast, NBC Sports Boston, talking about this story, which I think did change with that small, brief video. It gave a visual to that situation yesterday that I think was, for some people that thought, hey, this story is what it is, it gave them pause. It changed some people's minds when they saw that about the depth of the relationship between Vrabel and Rossini. I think that's the case. I think that video did that. You heard the story. You knew that she was 7 months pregnant, but then you see it, and I think it changes it. With any story, if there's a video or there's a photo attached, there's something about that maybe is jarring, maybe just gives you pause, something. Got this email from Dory, frequent emailer Dory. We don't read a lot of her emails, but here's one for you today. She wrote, I'm the ultimate Mike Vrabel fangirl. Loved him as a player. Followed his career after he left and was upset that Belichick didn't bring him back to coach here. And I was upset with Kraft with hiring Mayo over Vrabel. And I was ecstatic when he was finally hired. I was beyond happy last year. I was disappointed with the Rossini stuff, to be sure, but I figured as of yesterday that she would be quiet and it would be an act of self-preservation. There are too many rumors on the internet about her. And so I figured eventually this would start to die down. However, an affair is one thing, but this was a relationship, and no marriage can survive that. I have to tell you that the story about renting a boat while she is pregnant was a punch in the gut. From a female point of view, I'm questioning him and his judgment for the first time as not only a person, but as a coach. Dude, you're the head coach of the Tennessee Titans and you rent a boat in Tennessee with a pregnant woman and you didn't think someone would recognize you? And people are there asking to take pictures? That's what she said. Good Lord, she writes, Dory in New Hampshire, talking about it. Saying, wow, that definitely changed some things. Serious relationship. This is a pregnant woman, 7 months pregnant, very pregnant.
Very pregnant.
In the video. And for some, that's just like, whoa, what's up with this? This was more serious than anyone has at all at any point really pointed to.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, just the boat rental itself. I mean, we said it yesterday too, but like, name me a female that you know that you would go rent a boat with that's not your wife. Just the two of you.
Never mind a pregnant woman.
Yes.
7 months
7
pregnant.
months.
I think I've got 40 or 50 emails of people saying it's obviously his kid. That's where everybody's mind goes.
Yeah.
That's where everybody goes. What are you doing hanging around with a 7-month pregnant woman who you're in a relationship with and you're apparently dating on the side? And you're either with a married woman and it's not your child, or it is your child because you're in a serious relationship.
Exactly.
And that's now what people are questioning, and that's what people are talking about today when they look at that and say, what is going on here? What is the depth of this relationship? So we're asking some of these questions. What if Mike Vrabel were a bad coach? He's probably gone already. He's probably fired. He's a good coach, though, which means the Patriots and really any other team in the league would not be in a position to be talking about firing him. Him being so good at his job is what's saving him right now. Here's what I think we should be thankful for. I told you there was something we should be thankful for. We should be thankful that this didn't happen in the middle of the season, because that would be really, really bad. We've talked about this before, right? We've had this conversation on the show that how would this look if this happened in October? And the team is in the middle of getting ready for a game, and this drops on a random Wednesday. First of all, that would be madness, right?
Crazy.
Complete madness. And I think that point is a good one. Got an email from Kyle who wrote, would love to hear you guys have a take on this. Is Vrabel lucky that the story broke before Patriots players had reported, which is a little different than just what we've talked about, which is in season? If the timing was different, do you think he would have lied to the players, giving them the "it's laughable" message, the way he gave the "it's laughable" message to the New York Post at the start of April when this began? How would an accountability message land if he had initially spoken to the team with that same message he had publicly, if he told them that because they were in the building?
It's a great question. It's a great question because if that was his initial reaction, he's trying to bury that story and run away from it. I would think that that's the one that you're going to say publicly inside those walls too, right? You're not going to have mixed messages when it comes to those two things.
No.
You're going to try to stay on brand.
So forget the idea that it's good that it didn't happen in season. It's good that it didn't happen 2 weeks later when players were here, right? That would have been insane. Or let's just say, let's be happy it didn't happen at the end of May when players are all here for OTAs and they're all in the building and that breaks and he's telling everyone it's laughable. That would have been problematic.
Big time.
So having it happen just 2 weeks earlier than it did, forget in season, just 2 weeks earlier is a big break in this thing.
Man,
that
because
helps him.
Then your message in terms of accountability moving forward is really damaged, right? You know, if you have that meeting with the players and you take accountability for it a few weeks ago and you say that you made a mistake, it's understandable. But to your point, if you go out there and you deny it at first and then have to circle back with the team again, I don't know how that message in terms of holding players accountable and taking care of your business and putting your best foot forward for the organization lands anymore.
617-779-0985 is the phone number. Let's grab your calls. What do you say? Paul in Rhode Island. Go ahead, Paul.
So I know the story in itself, the whole cheating scandal. What I'm looking at is where it is coming from and whose agenda is it to keep the dripping on all this information. And you guys touched base if it was, I think it's the Tennessee Titans owner, Amy Strunk. I mean, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, right? So she's probably been following him and just putting all these photos from 2020 are coming out now. She's probably had him followed from the get-go. And I was just wondering what your take is on it, guys. Like, do you feel as though that's what she's trying to drive him down after everything that she dealt with him being the coach and all these stories of him being an intimidating guy? If you remember, I think Rossini said he was a big guy. So she might have, I think she's really just going to keep this narrative going until he's done.
Paul, I think
what your take is.
I think you're asking the wrong question about Strunk. I think the question is, did he get fired in Tennessee because of this relationship? That's a question I have. Did the Tennessee Titans know that this was going on, or at least hear the rumors of this going on, and they decided it was part of the reason why they were going to let him go, because they knew off the field things were sloppy.
This guy's not buttoned up. He's just sloppy right now.
He's losing at the end in Tennessee. And oh, by the way, off the field, this guy's a disaster. We're moving on.
Yeah, so why are we gonna give him the keys to the castle, right?
Yeah,
in the power
right.
struggle?
Exactly. Oh, let me get this straight. We've been covering for you. We know about this off-the-field relationship with the reporter from ESPN at the time. And now you go up to New England and start telling New England how great things are there. Well, you know what? Get the hell out of here. Get lost. We're not dealing with a coach who's losing games. And oh, by the way, off the field, we've got to worry about him getting pictures taken down at the boat dock. Doesn't that kind of make sense?
It does. I mean, it definitely gives you a little bit more clarity in terms of potentially why he's no longer in Tennessee.
Right. I mean, Dory's email saying you're the coach of the Titans, the Tennessee Titans, and you go to the boat dock to rent the boat in Tennessee? At least this time around, they were in Arizona. At least that was the case in this story.
Right, like a legit getaway. I will say this. I don't think there's some coordinated thing going on when it comes to the new videos and pictures that are coming out.
I don't either.
I think it's as simple as they were sloppy over the years. There have been plenty of people that have taken pictures and videos of it, sent it in group text. They didn't go to the New York Post or TMZ with this stuff initially, but now that they know that TMZ and the New York Post are potentially paying for these pictures, they're circling back and emailing those pictures out.
Yeah, there's a market now.
There's a market. So now you go, hey, remember that picture I sent you, Beetle and Zoe, from 4 years ago of Vrabel? All right, well, now I'm going to email TMZ and see if they want it, if they'll pay me for it.
And not to mention, in the very beginning, we had read that both outlets were debating whether or not this should have been fair game. But that the ultimate deciding factor was, and I'm talking about the New York Post and TMZ, the ultimate deciding factor was that this was another public figure, a high-profile NFL reporter, which is what made it fair game in their minds. It was not just some woman. It wasn't just some random woman. And I'm telling you, if it was, I don't think that this ever sees the light of day.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. And I think there are probably plenty of examples over the years of professional athletes and professional sports coaches and managers, et cetera, that have had off-the-field extramarital affairs that would be truly not any of our business because it's some private citizen that nobody knows. It's not a public figure the way it is with Diana Rossini. That changes the story dramatically. That's why it starts to get out. If someone sends that photo 4 or 5 years ago of the boat dock, does it go anywhere?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it does. And maybe they tried 4 or 5 years ago. How the hell do I know? Now it's out there. But someone at the time, I'm guessing it had to be an employee, snapped a photo of that sheet with those names on it. And had to have been sending it to, everyone's got that chat with their friends on their phone. Like, look at these two. What the hell is going on here?
Right.
Sending that photo to their buddies of Rossini and Vrabel rented a boat together.
I mean,
this is weird.
Yes, the outlier.
What kind of reporting's happening there?
The outlier thing is the couple in Sedona that took those pictures and didn't just send it to friends, but then shopped them, right? That's not normal behavior to me.
Yeah.
But like you said, a dude taking those pictures and then sending it in the group text 5 years ago, that to me is more likely. And then you find out, fast forward 5 years later, those group photos that I sent you, those might be worth something. So yeah, I'm going to shop those things now.
We'll get to headlines right now on this Finish Strong Friday with Tim McCone, 617-779-0985. It is the first time that there's been an ick reaction to the Vrabel thing from people. I think it just went from, all right, this is what it is. This kind of stuff does happen. There's the human nature and people make mistakes, and what are you going to do? Move on. Then you sort of see yesterday and people are like, what the hell? What was going on here? And it's the first time you start saying, where the hell was there any judgment involved here? Any at all? Just zero thought to any of this? And why did she get married? There's so many questions. So many questions that come out of it, for sure. So again, 617-779-0985 is the phone number. Did he get fired in Tennessee because this was going on? Did the Titans know about this? What if this had happened in the middle of the season or even a couple of weeks later when players were in the building? And I think we all know what would happen if he was a 4-win coach. I don't think he'd be here anymore after this. You can put up with it when you're a Super Bowl coach. You can't put up with this when you're a 4-win coach. There's just no room for that. So we'll get back to your calls coming up right after this.
If you need your Boston sports fix, we're here.
You see from the rear angle?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Zolak and Bertrand, the Sports Hub.
It adds a new complexion to the overall narrative.
Agreed.
As it relates to her circumstances at the time this was happening.
Yeah. I think it's with both sides. You question that with as in her circumstances. I think this is the first one where, okay, yeah, there's affairs that happen in marriages and stuff like that goes down. It's rare where we see, this type of public where it's someone following the NFL and a head coach and all that as well. But I think at a base level, with lack of a better way to say it, I think this story is a little bit like, for most people, ew, like what? It's the first time it crossed into ugh, like you're pregnant and you went and saw him and she's pregnant and you wanted her to come and hang out on a boat, and it's just like that. I think that's the first time I know some others that are just the reaction is just like, and that's where it's a little odd. The other one, okay, yeah, it's a fair, it's all messed up and whatever else, but this to me is like a different line crossed, I think is what you're trying to say, or at least it is in my mind here.
617-779-0985. That is from Pro Football Talk. It is Mike Florio and Chris Sims. They have not been afraid to talk about this story. They've been talking about it since day one on a national platform. Those two guys. Not afraid of it. In those trenches from the very beginning, McCone. In those trenches. Not afraid to go there. Let's go to your calls. Let's go to Joe in New Hampshire. Hi, Joe.
Hey, guys. One thing I haven't heard anybody say is that the reason why Vrabel's not getting fired is because Kraft still owes Mayo 3 years, right? And he's already paid one off for 4 years, really. So that would be 8 years of paying coaches for not coaching.
Yeah, it's a lot of dough. It's a good point, Joe.
It's a lot of money, and I'm sure maybe that's a small sliver of the reason why they haven't done it. But I still think it's the fact that you suffered through. I mean, look, it's back-to-back 4-win seasons, but really it was an extended period by Patriot standards of losing football that you saw. And this guy went in and overnight flipped your team around into a Super Bowl contender. And I don't think you walk away from a guy like that.
Which is why I'm sure they're also motivated to try and get this story to pipe down everybody.
Yeah. It's not a...
Stop reporting on it. Stop talking about it. Right? This is unfair. There's too much coverage of this.
Just piling on at this point.
Yeah. Well, you've got a motivated TMZ. They're on it.
Trying to play catch up now.
Harvey is motivated, man. He's playing catch up.
I'll buy.
Playing from behind. He was down 28-3, and he's mounting a comeback.
Don't let him get hot.
Zach is in Indiana. Zach.
Hey, guys. Good morning. So I'll say I didn't know that Rossini was pregnant when they'd seen each other. I knew the whole scandal and, the cheating, whatever. But that just means one of two things. One, that means that's Vrabel's kid, or it means Rossini's willing to get with someone in a relationship while she's pregnant, which both situations are pretty effed up. And as a Pats fan, I'm pretty conflicted because on the one hand, Vrabel brought us to the Super Bowl, and I want to see him get us, to the Super Bowl again and hopefully a win next year. But also, if you're a person with morals, any sense of morals, infidelity is just wrong. I don't see, it's almost hypocritical to turn the other cheek and say, okay, Vrabel, you're a family man, just keep doing the Vrabel strategy and, we'll sort of sweep this one under the rug. To me, it's just, I don't know. It's too morally.
I get what you're saying, Zach, but I would say this. I would say in the beginning, when you hear about something like this, you say, I don't know the status of his marriage. I don't know what was going on between him and his wife, and that's none of our business, right? Okay, yes, infidelity, extramarital affairs. You never want to say that you approve of them, but you also say, I don't know the situation. I don't know what led to that. Maybe they've got a marriage that had completely fallen apart. What the hell do I know? It's when you start introducing this element of pregnancies and kids that you start thinking it's all screwed up and potentially really twisted. And I think that's what really changed with seeing that video yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's when you start thinking, what the hell's wrong with you people?
What's going on here?
Especially, man, her. She has taken such a hit. And this clip then drops last night. Someone unearthed this from the Family Feud, the Barstool Family Feud during COVID, a Zoom game being played. Rossini is on the Zoom. I can't do it justice on radio, but we can play you what she said. But Rossini is part of the game, as is Vrabel, both at home on Zoom. With the Barstool crew. And this is what she has to say to, survey says, what do we got?
Okay, Diana, what is something you might close your eyes to do?
When you have sex with your husband or wife.
Again, this is from Family Feud Kids, but yes.
She answered it. Yep. She answered it. It's done. That's the.
And Vrabel's on the call. And you see his reaction, and he's not laughing.
No.
He starts just shaking his head like, geez. What are you doing? That was her answer. What might you close your eyes to? All right. Once again, another clip where she is.
I thought we were out of these, by the way. I thought the montage had already been made, and we were saying, no, this one drops last night.
She's a freak, man. What the hell? Like, what is this? I mean, she craps on this guy, or craps on the idea of a spouse at any chance, at any turn. She'll have a clip
joke. The guy even said it. He was like, hey, what are we doing? Like, you're going out of your way to make that joke?
Yes.
Like, wildly unnecessary.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I think that's what people just react to. What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Why did you get married to that man? Who do the children belong to in this situation? You know? Yeah. And just the pleas of like, I'm protecting my family. I'm protecting my children. Are you? Yeah? Is that what it's all about right now for you? What were you doing the last 6 years? Those are the questions that people have. 617-779-0985. We'll pick it up on the other side. Zoe's arrived.
Finished on Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's get some food.
Yeah, we're almost into the Jaylen Brown stuff at 11, so now you're here. Thanks for missing out the first 3 Vrabel segments.
You guys covered it really well.
Yeah, there you go.
Callers, good emails and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the help. Appreciate it. Don't go anywhere.
Zoe and Beetle are back with more.
Howard Class of New England.
Yep.
On the Sports Hub.
He's been trying to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for over a decade, and they keep rejecting him. What would be the reason why? It can't be because of football, right? Mm-hmm. It's because of the dirty dealing, backstabbing, cheating, unfaithful stuff that's gone on. Of course he's going to back his coach, who didn't slip up one time, but has decided that he was going to have an ongoing affair, allegedly, with Diana Rossini.
Might be past that.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
No.
And it is the Patriot way. That's why, Robert Kraft, I hope you never get in. Because the idea that, because it wasn't an employee here, it's okay. I get it. If it was an employee, he'd probably be pressured by the league because the league and the team would be held responsible. And she would be able to sue them. But I'm not surprised. This is right up the alley. This is the Patriots' M.O.
I feel like that's too strong. I don't feel like the team should be blamed for Mike Vrabel's actions. I don't believe it's on them. I don't believe it's on the team. I do think that some of the scheduling of Mike Vrabel speaking has been odd, and it has not been the best plan of action from a PR standpoint. Thought the 2 press conferences were a mistake. There should have been one. It should have been wide open. Everybody should have been invited, and he should have been forced to just answer the questions and be done with it. He didn't do that. He ran away when the questions got hard. And then he had to have a second press conference after telling Reese he was going to miss the draft.
Right.
So I don't blame the team for all of this. I do think, again, small mistakes. I wouldn't have had him out there for the standing ovation he got. That was a terrible look. Zoe, Reese, egging everybody on. I got an email last night from a listener that said, how come you didn't call those guys out for that? I was like, what?
What you been doing?
Yeah, they'd spend an hour doing it.
Where have you been? Did you miss that show?
Yeah,
I said, go check out the pod.
Every show.
I ripped the both of them for that.
Here's the video.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? But I'm not putting it on the team. I know Rob Parker hates the Patriots. I'm not putting it on the team. This is on Mike Vrabel.
It's on Mike Vrabel. It's his individual decision. And I do agree with some of the stuff that I heard you guys talking about there. Like, if he was like, say, Mayo, a 4-13 wing coach, now you got big problems. Because now you're looked at, you can't handle stuff outside the building, let alone inside the building.
Yeah, like, what are we saving? Right?
I think it benefits him so much that he's so intense and so involved, and they see that in the building. They're like, this is what we want for a guy to work here. If he's a CEO of, say, a random company and you're working downtown, I don't think you ever hear about this. I don't. Like, he had an extramarital affair.
Well, yeah.
The fact it's him and the fact it's her.
He's a football coach.
On a massive level.
But, this could be a contributing reason why people view Robert Kraft and his Hall of Fame eligibility a certain way. That's stupid. Okay. What, he's a Hall of Fame coach if he fires Mike Vrabel? Come on. Give me the alternate and tell me that that's what the alternative and that's what it is.
Right.
I don't buy that. Get lost with that.
Was that the USA Today report, or was that a caller or an email to you when you talked about, boy, he picked the right team in the Patriots as far as...
That was USA Today.
USA Today. Okay, yeah. And
USA Today.
I'm thinking, like, that's kind of true. Like, if you're a Cincinnati head coach and this happens, like, we're not tolerating this. We don't want to pay. Get out of this contract with this guy. Fire him. Conduct detrimental. The fact it's here and you're so good... I don't want to say you're good at dealing with crisis management, but you've had to get through some major bumps. You know, whether it was Spygate, whether it was the Aaron Hernandez stuff, when Bill had to go to the podium and talk about that. We didn't think they were going to say anything. He addressed it right away. Like, that was the best way ever to handle something like that. He's been released. We dealt with it. This is not what we stand for. Like, you've had the ability to go through things. I think that does help him here in this situation.
The fact that Gerard Mayo was a one and done. We can't do this again. We can't go through another head coaching.
Yeah, he's got to win. Like, if this puts so much more.
4 coaches in 4 years.
So much more immense pressure. Like, I have no clue how much.
Yikes.
What's the payment on Bill?
Trey Mayo on his third head coach.
Another coordinator, right?
Along these lines of the what ifs,
Yeah.
got another good what if from Mark in Orlando. He said, what if it were another coach? You just mentioned Aaron Glenn. I've been thinking recently, what if this had all played out the exact same way with, say, Kevin Stefanski or Robert Saleh? Does the public jump on this the way they have? The way they have because it's a Patriots coach.
Good question.
Would the story be as big? More here to chew on. Have a great show. Thank you, Mark. It's a good question. Is some of this being fueled by the fact that all of those past incidents and scandals and success of the New England Patriots drives anything that's a Patriots-related story? As I've said, I believe the Patriots are the most polarizing team in football.
Oh, they sure are.
You either love them or you hate them. No one is ambivalent about the Patriots. And so I think Mark makes an excellent point. If it were another team and another coach, this would not be as big of a story. So Mike Vrabel does suffer in some regard for having chosen the Patriots, but he also gains in the regard that he's got a team that's ready to weather the storm with him and put out a statement and say, that's our guy. You hate us if you ain't us. We're going back out and winning games next season.
What if they only won 6 games last year?
I think that's another part of it. I mean, you're coming off a Super Bowl trip as well.
They're looking at it. They do this. They look at the numbers. Holy crap, 14-3 regular season. We won 3 playoff games. We went to the Super Bowl. We got the quarterback that everybody wants. But I think Mike's got a massive, I don't want to say identity, but a presence about himself. Like Rossini was the one who reported, teams don't want him because they're intimidated by him. He's a big guy. Think about if this was
She wasn't intimidated. No. She likes a big guy.
If this was like Joe Philbin.
What? She does.
I know. Obviously.
Just telling you the truth, man. She likes what she likes.
He's got to win. Like he's got to continue, and that's the biggest concern. I keep saying it is like he will be the same guy inside. I think that, but like, will the outside stuff wear on that and affect the inside stuff? Like, I think he loves coaching. He loves being with the guys. I'd love to know in detail what he told the team. Like, hey, this is something I messed up one time or whatever. Now, as you find out that this has been ongoing and it's like a 6-year thing, did you lie to the team? Because I think that's, other than his own family, I don't know. I do think he cares about his family. Your football team is your number one concern. You're the guy standing there after every game shaking hands in the hallway, whether win or lose, coaching them. We see him coach them. He's not in there just killing time. You know, he puts a lot into it. And it's going to be tough balancing both as this thing moves on. But time does heal all wounds.
John is in Dalton today. Hi,
What's up,
John.
Hi, good morning, guys. I was thinking if one or both of them maybe just came out and got the record clean. Yes, I've been having an affair for the last, I'll say, 7 years. No one's running around looking for speculation. Oh, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. It's just like, oh, the story, at least the history of it dies, I think.
The fact she hasn't spoken and she's been in hiding, I think, keeps the story cooking. The longer this goes on. Now, the quicker she speaks, I think everybody says, okay, this is the break point. Now we can start getting past this, whatever that is. But from what people say, she's shopping it right now.
Do the tell-all. I think it helps.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think it does. I think the tell-all will help, but...
Does he need to do the tell-all too, though?
Yeah, I think probably. He's considering it. Daily Mail says they expect he's going to do one too.
Would you rather do the one-time sit-down or have to
Patriots
have
All
press
Access.
conferences where you get peppered with questions that you have no idea what people are going to ask or...
The tell-all.
Give me the controlled environment.
The tell-all you control. Just like when Bill was sitting there with the Navy sweatshirt, Jordan goes, "We're not going to talk about this," and they still leave it in there.
Well, yeah, it wasn't controlled at all.
Right, but
that's doing a real interview.
You're right. Like, hey, I will do it, and there's going to be parameters. But like the press conferences are, I'm not saying his are bad. Those could go sideways. You remember when Mayo picked a starting quarterback, he had to come back in because he had to tell the media.
It would not be great if he had to come back in afterwards, and
You can't have another one after this.
Well, Mike Vrabel did have a second talk with his team, as Mike Giardi had reported. We could talk about that, and we've got full loaded lines on this. We'll get to it right after headlines.